Now, Brad, in 2002, not long after 9/11, you get this extraordinary phone call. Tell me about this.
I was living in the mountains of Utah at the time, Park City, and it was like a scene out of a movie. I'm running in the mountains with my dog. I'm in an area the cell phone never works, and suddenly my cell phone starts ringing. And I get asked if I would consider coming to D.C. to be part of something that the Department of Homeland Security was standing up called the Analytic Red Cell Program. And what this was even before the 9/11 Commission came out, the powers that be in Washington said 9/11 happened because of a failure of imagination on our part. And they were determined to never let that happen again. So to do that, they realized they needed to break out of the way that they had been thinking. So they invited creative thinkers into D.C. from outside to help them brainstorm potential terrorist attacks.
This is like your sort of fantasy world come true.
Absolutely. I mean, to be asked to serve your country not by picking up a rifle, but by bringing in your creative talents and your knowledge of terrorism and that kind of a thing, it was an incredible opportunity.
Did you have any ideas that you then saw implemented or not, or happen?
Well, I always joke around that the Red Cell program is the Las Vegas of government programs. What happens in the Red Cell stays in the Red Cell, and that was one of the things they told us. What I did see happen was some of the attacks that I predicted that we were working on there, we saw them implemented. I would be watching CNN, and all of a sudden this attack would pop up in Iraq or someplace else or in Afghanistan, and I would say, I'd call my guy, my contact, and he'd say, okay, I know you saw it on the news, but you can't go out and say you worked on dreaming up that attack.
You wrote a very contentious book, The Last Patriot. It was banned in Saudi Arabia because it fictionalized a lost Islamic text. What was the fallout like for you personally after that?
Well, we got a lot of threats, which was not easy for me as a husband and father, because I take the safety and security of my family. It's the one thing I hold dear and most important to me above all else. So we had to sell our house, we had to move, we had to pick up extra security. I can't go and do book signings now without security at the book signings and so on and so forth.
You were actually warned before publication that you would be assassinated by Muslim extremists if you published that book.
That was
but you still did it.
I still did. That was Glenn Beck said, I implore you. I'd given him an early copy of the book, and he read it, and he said, I'm begging you, do not publish this book. You will be assassinated within a year. I'm still here. He was wrong, thank God. My goal is not to demonize Islam, but I say at the end of the day, we're not at war with the Irish right now. If this was 30 years ago, I'd be writing about the Soviets.
I mean, it's still a gutsy thing to do, because you are potentially making yourself a target. Even by talking this way about it.
But I think it's imperative upon us who live in free and democratic societies to not shy away from taking these on. I had a great idea for a book. Why should I sublimate my art because I'm afraid of reprisals? I mean, I think that what is going to help good, peaceful, moderate Muslims around the world, and that's the majority of the Muslim population, is to have people like me writing this book, shining the light on the radicals. Because when we make apologies for Islam, when we try to explain it away, we actually weaken the voice of the good Muslim reformers who are trying to change their religion from within. And they need our support. So I feel this is important.
2 or 3 years ago, you were on a Black Ops mission in Afghanistan. You were shadowing.
I shadowed a team.
What was that like?
That for me was as great as it was being as part of the Red Cell program. That for me was a dream come true. That was like pitching for the Yankees or being a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. It was so exciting for me to travel with these men, the best of the best, and see how they do what they do. But it also gave me a deeper appreciation for Muslim culture, particularly the Afghan culture. Every village we went to, we had the permission of the village elders to be there. So we had the protection of the Pashtunwali, the code of honor that they had there. And they would have fought in that village to the death of every man to keep us safe. You know, try to find someone to help you change your tire when you've got a flat on the way to the airport. Yet here they would have fought to the last villager to keep us alive. I didn't want to leave. I actually had one of the greatest, most eye-opening experiences of my life.
Do you think it's a more dangerous world now than it was in 2001?
Absolutely. I think it grows every single day. I think the death of Osama bin Laden puts Al-Qaeda in a position where they have to prove without their CEO that they're still capable of spectacular attacks. I think that's kind of why we saw a bit of a knee-jerk on Norway. So yeah, I think every day we go without an attack, it gets more dangerous.
Brad, Thor, it's compelling talking to you, and the books are a great read. I recommend this one. It's another storming, unthinkable thriller of mayhem and complexity. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Piers.
Take care. That's it for us tonight. AC 360 stars right now.
Piers, thanks very much.